Greetings again everyone. Now, we all know that if you're looking for artistic inspiration for your video work or even find composition ideas and avant-garde imagery for your stills photography, then in the world of movies, you need to look no further than The Room by Tommy Wiseau. But where else can you go if his particular aesthetic isn't quite to your taste? Not many people know that I properly learned photography and video work by doing a degree in film studies at the University of Wales many years ago now, and that degree was fantastic because it was about 40% practical video making and 60% theory. And by theory, I mean studying tons of films from different eras and cultures and researching and breaking them down artistically bit by bit to understand what makes them tick. Admittedly, it was a bit of a Mickey Mouse degree. I don't really keep up with the film scene nowadays so much, but nevertheless, here are 5 classic films you might not have heard of, whose photography have each really inspired me in different ways, electrified my mind, made me want to get a budget and a crew together and go out shooting. It's a bit of a personal list, so don't be surprised if they are a little different from what might inspire you. I'm not going to be talking much about blockbuster films here with stratospheric budgets, which most of us could never realistically produce for ourselves. These are slightly more unusual films that you might not have heard of, with some interesting photographic principles that anyone could learn from. By the way, this is one of the exclusive videos I produce for my $3 a month Patreon supporters. Every 10th video I make, I release for everyone on my main channel to encourage viewers to check out my Patreon page, which can be found in the description below. Now then, the earliest film on this list is a very famous British psychological horror film by Michael Powell called Peeping Tom. It's sometimes considered the British counterpart to Psycho. It was hated in its time but is celebrated today, and it inspired many modern filmmakers like Lars von Trier and especially Martin Scorsese. Made in 1960, it features Mark, a reclusive focus puller in the 60s British film industry, who struggles with personal demons and finds an outlet through occasionally murdering people in a very frightening way. Problematically for a film in the 1960s though, this serial killer comes across as a very sympathetic and multi-dimensional character. Not only is the film's story, direction and acting rightly celebrated today, but the film is visually very powerful, as Powell brilliantly builds up the drama and tension using all his skills as a cinematographer. It's a film set and drenched in simple English realism, but its sometimes bright colours and bold dramatic lighting make its set pieces seem otherworldly. Visually, the film was simply light years ahead of its time and a major technical accomplishment. The claustrophobia of Mark's mind is represented by tight shots, dark shadows and shifting colours. It's just a shame about the film's rather brutal ending, which I personally don't like at all, and it's no wonder Powell had some career trouble afterwards, considering the era this movie was made in. Sometimes you just have to suffer for your art though, and to me that's the big lesson of Peeping Tom, as well as all the amazing photography. Another of my favourite films when it comes to lighting, although its images are also compositionally brilliant and its narrative flow cutting edge for the time, is Il Conformista, or The Conformist by Bernardo Bertolucci. Another film which influenced many aspiring directors of the time, including Francis Ford Coppola. I love its tale of pre-war continental political intrigue and its non-linear narrative structure. Most intriguing though is its thoughtful storytelling photography. Bertolucci and his cinematographer Vittorio Storaro often uses lighting to tell a powerful story in this film. For example, in this scene where Marcello, the film's protagonist, is fighting against his conscience and against his minder over the brutal assassination mission that Mussolini's government have sent him on. The light swings one way and the other in harmony with his tortured mind. Or this lighting here, striping its way across the walls of the apartment of his fiancée, representing the bars of the symbolic prison cell that he worries this relationship will be like for him. It adds so much to your photography or video work to think about visual representation and storytelling through imaginative use of light, as well as through colour and composition. Next up, Barry Lyndon, Stanley Kubrick's underappreciated masterpiece. Alright, it's not his best film by any means, but like every other film student in the world, I'm a huge fan of Stanley Kubrick, and more than anything else, this particular film shows off his famed compositional skills. Many of the shots you see are based off paintings by William Hogarth, every scene, every shot meticulously crafted. This is definitely a film to watch on a large screen in a dark room, and in a Sight and Sound poll a few years ago, it was considered the 12th best film of all time by a panel of film directors. Aside from the incredible visual composition, it's Kubrick's thoughtful use of natural light that jumps out here. Not only was virtually every scene you see, indoors or outdoors, shot in natural light only, but some of the indoor scenes were famously shot by candlelight. Now this was revolutionary for 1975 and only achievable by simultaneously burning a large number of specially made super bright candles and shooting with a specialized Carl Zeiss 50mm f/0.7 lens, which had originally been developed for NASA. Thankfully, modern digital cameras can have amazing image quality when shooting in the dark, so you won't have to jump through the same kind of hoops as Kubrick did to overcome such a challenge today. So, landscape photographers, watch this film. You must catch it on a big screen. It will teach you a lot about image composition, just like any Kubrick film, but also anyone who's a fan of working in very low light could find great inspiration from the kind of images Kubrick painstakingly managed to present us with here. And if you like thoughtful composition, then the next film really does have to be one of my favourites. The 1990s were a breakout period for Chinese cinema, and one of its greatest and most internationally popular masterpieces is the Oscar-nominated and BAFTA award-winning Raise the Red Lantern by Zhang Yimou. It's full of restrained emotion and beautiful performances, and I'm captivated by its story of intrigue and power play among a rich man's 4 concubines in early Republican China. As well as having exceptional music and use of sound, the film's main attraction is its visual composition and careful, deliberate use of each of its shots, not to mention brilliant set design. The heavy use of long shots lends an air of distance to the film's subject, ensuring they're always engulfed, perhaps even subjugated, by their surroundings, and the high and low angle shots alternately offer a feeling of imprisonment in their own homes as well as threat from internal sources. The powerful colour of night and day, the soft, gentle sepia tone to the colours, and the powerful use of red, one of the most symbolic colours in Chinese culture, leap right out of the screen at you. The film teaches me about getting distance from your subject, as well as the importance of symmetry and simplicity, holding your shot intentionally still and letting the surroundings and the actors just tell their story. It also reminds me of the importance of getting your sets and your backgrounds right, something photographers are prone to forget from time to time, so focused as we can be on our subject. And my last choice is a film that makes extensive use of darkness, shadows, long shots, and stunning, mysterious landscape photography. Silence, the 2016 Passion Project by Martin Scorsese, bravely telling the story of the brutal national persecution of Christians in Edo period Japan and covering big philosophical and moral questions. It is your classic, critically acclaimed movie which sadly, although perhaps unsurprisingly considering the unusual subject matter, bombed at the box office. Cool, muted colours outside, warm, soft light inside conveys the hiddenness of the priests and the people cowering from the dangerous authorities around them. Smoke and mist adds distance, mystery and fear, and unpredictability. Smoke, of course, is one of the few truly random movements that you can capture on screen. Silence captures a dark and unpredictable world indeed. Every shot is lined up absolutely perfectly, and that makes sense as Scorsese was developing it in the background for 25 years, so it's got a lot to teach me about the need for careful preparation before approaching my subject. If you have the stomach for something thought-provoking, tough and different with dark, enigmatic photography, then this is certainly a film to catch. It has some horrifying moments, I should warn you though, but the subject matter is powerful and deeply moving. Andrew Garfield claimed that shooting the film helped him to believe in God and to fall in love with Jesus Christ, something that happened to me as well at the end of my time at university. Anyway, those are a few films that especially inspired my own photography and taught me all about composition, lighting, colour and movement. As you can imagine, being an ex-film student, I could go on for hours about visual ideas in films across history. I also wanted to cover German expressionist films and American New Wave pictures like Taxi Driver, Apocalypse Now, films by David Lynch, classics like Lawrence of Arabia, Blade Runner, as well as newer films like Road to Perdition, Life of Pi, films by Krzysztof Kieślowski, Ingmar Bergman, Akira Kurosawa, Louis Malle, Jean-Pierre Jeunet, Dario Argento, the Coen brothers, and I mustn't forget my absolute favourite, Wayne's World 2, of course. Anyway, which films over the years have inspired you with their visuals and cinematography? Let me know in the description below, as I'd love to check out some more. Ciao for now, everyone.